Hey, how's everyone doing? This is CEO Talks. My name's Alicio Castaneda. Today I have the pleasure of being with Rick Hughes of Peace Entertainment Media.
I think this is going to be the start of something beautiful.
Wake up in the morning and repeat to yourself in the mirror your why. So my why is my wife.
My way of life, whether it's 5 times a day, I pray 5 times a day.
Okay.
It's a form of purification. It's a form of meditation. It's a form of getting myself right. There's this notion of fake it to make it, right? But don't be fake. That's not what that means. So imagine that discipline from taking the bus, walking, talking the talk, and walking the walk. He literally physically did that.
Can you imagine what you would think of me if you're waiting here 30 minutes, an hour, you're texting, you call me, I don't pick up, and then 2 hours later I call you, hey, my bad, Rick, I forgot about it, we'll schedule in 2 weeks' time.
So she called me and said, hey, I don't need you just to videotape the wedding. I need you to take the management role on this or whatever, and I'm gonna call my cousin to do the photography and you'll do the videography, but I need you to check on him, I need you to facilitate the managerial role for this and take lead on that. I said, of course, I got you.
Yeah, 100%.
She called me like the day her husband died.
Oh, man. Hey, how's everyone doing? This is CEO Talks. My name's Alicio Castaneda with Summit Community Bank. We try to do something a little bit different at this branch I'm at. We wanted to have honesty and transparency with our clients. And today I have the pleasure of being with Rick Hughes of Peace Entertainment Media. I've been following Rick for a long time now. I love how he promotes himself, the energy he brings wherever he goes to. So with that being said, thanks for being here, Rick.
Oh, man, thanks for having me. I think this is going to be the start of something beautiful. I think that, between you and I and other collaborators, this will be a platform for us and for others to come on and refer and tell their story, but also communicate a message that's positive. So I think this, maybe talk about, what would you like to talk about?
You hit something right there, right at the end about positivity. I think that'd be a great way to start this episode today. How about we go into how we start off our day to get into that positive mindset? I'd be happy to go first, Rick, if that's all right with you.
Sure.
Something that a mentor told me not too long ago, actually, and you always need to be growing. Don't always accept who you are, try to be somebody better. But something that a mentor recently told me is, wake up in the morning and repeat to yourself in the mirror your why. So my why is my wife. We've been married 1 year, together for 6 years now. We don't have children yet, and that is God's blessing. So when God sends us those angels, we want to be ready for them. But every morning, now that my mentor had mentioned this, I wake up in the morning, look at myself in the mirror, because you can't lie to yourself. If you lie to yourself, then you're going to lie to everybody. You're going to lie to your wife, your friends, your parents. So you look yourself in the mirror, you tell yourself a why. So I look at myself in the mirror, I tell myself, this morning I'm going to go out, be a positive mindset, be a positive in my community, for my wife, for my future family that I'm trying to build out. So right off the bat, if I think I wake up in a bad mindset or whatever it may be, after I do that in the morning, it's like, do I really want to start downhill after I told myself my why and waking up with that positive energy?
Yep.
So that's usually how I start off my morning. What's something that you usually start, Rick?
Well, for me, my ritual, spirituality, my way of life, whether it's 5 times a day, I pray 5 times a day.
Okay.
It's a form of purification. It's a form of meditation. It's a form of getting myself right and preparing myself like a soldier throughout the day. So that way, any wrongdoings or whatever, hopefully I can be forgiven in between those prayers and then get back on doing what I'm supposed to do. And it keeps me from any wrongdoings, and wrongdoings is not necessarily doing something wrong in the eyes of the law, but it's doing something wrong in the eyes of people and God and stuff of that nature, right? So just staying on point, what I call standing your square. And then staying on point. So in doing so, one of the rituals that I follow too in business and in health is a to-do list, a personal one as well as a business one, right? And, from executive point of view, as a CEO, since the CEO Talks, is that a to-do list, right? So from, the executives at Discovery Channel as well as Nat Geo, they have a to-do list, and they taught me about that, and they said, do 3 major things. And then the other things will fall in place, but focus on 3 major priorities and do those throughout the day, because stuff takes longer than what you think it's going to take. Right?
Ain't that right?
And I think that has led me to be able to accomplish knocking down tasks that lead towards a bigger goal. And that gives me peace of mind, right? Because on a personal level, you know, you have personal goals too. You have domestic goals. You know what I mean? And like, you know, it's things you and your wife want to do, and things me and my wife and my kids need to do and need to get done personally or domestically or what have you. And so write down a to-do list for those as well. Right.
Okay.
And focus on those. So I do that as well. So one of the biggest accomplishments is that, you know, I've been married 25 years.
Congratulations. That's beautiful.
June, right? And I got married at the age of 25, right? So, you know, celebrating the anniversary for, you know, that is a major milestone and accomplishment in my personal life. And then, you know, 25 years in my business life, you know, I've made some major accomplishments for working for those said people that I mentioned, as well as, you know, meeting you, you know what I mean? And being able to grow with the networks in this area. So those to-do lists and those personal things that you wake up and do in the morning, not saying you have to do what we do, but whatever gives you peace of mind, right? That's what it's about, I think, for me.
Yeah, 100%. And something that you were talking about when you met those executives in your previous life, they taught you how to do the breakdown of 3 big things in one day. And if something rolls over, that's all right. But in the discovery of doing those big 3 items, you can work towards your goals. You might not achieve that goal, but it's all about steps. You know, you can't win a marathon in a day. You got to practice for it.
Deep.
So something that a different mentor taught me, in a similar vein about you, the big 3 things that you want to break into, they taught me about time blocking. And I'm sure some of our audience members have heard about time blocking. You can do it in 30-minute increments, hour, 2 hours. The way I was taught, because I've been in the corporate world, which is 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, is time blocking on a 1 hour instance. So me as a banker, I work 9 to 5 with a half hour, an hour lunch. So that only leaves me 7 hours. And that was very key, that when my mentor told me that, they'd said, if you're not organized, anything's going to come into your day, a phone call, an email, a client, and that's just going to break your peace. If you think you're coming in on Friday morning, knock out 20 outbound calls from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., but you didn't do a time block or set that as one of your big 3 things to knock out, an email can come in, a client can come in, and the client can come in and just vent. You know, we're more than happy to speak with our clients, but some of them, they just want somebody to talk to. So if you didn't time block, that client's gonna come in, your peace of mind is gonna be going away, because in the back of your head, you could think, oh man, I should be calling these prospects, but you know, I'm here with this client trying to listen to them. So time blocking for me is, I'm falling off of it for a little bit, to be honest with you, Rick. You know, that's where I will come in back to honesty and transparency as a banker, is I'm falling off. So my discipline needs some working on, but with your time blocking, you want to break down the segments. So as a banker, I'd rather check my email twice a day, first thing in the morning, so from 9 to 10, then again 3 to 4, instead of checking out throughout the entire day. Same with outbound phone calls, prospect calls, sales calls. I want to put 1 hour each day to contact 5 to 10 clients. If I get connected to the clients instead of leaving a voicemail, then maybe it'll be for only 5 clients, because I want to hold a legit, genuine conversation. If I only get connected to their voicemail, then that's how I can do 10 or 15 clients. But going back to what you were saying, Rick, it's the peace of mind, empowering your positive reinforcement every single day to allow you to be a better person on your personal level, and then a better person on a professional level. And then the networks you're in, both professionally and personally, they feed off that. Like Rick, and the first time I met you, like, I felt the energy. I'm like, man, this guy is legit.
Thank you.
I heard you talking, and it's genuine.
Yeah.
And I hope you felt the same way with me. Like the way I carry myself, I want to be genuine. I'm sure both of us have met a lot of people that can just say a lot of things, put up the smile, but you feel it. You feel it deep down, like, hey, man, this person, something wrong about them. And that's where the positivity and the steps you can do makes you a genuine person. And what I said right at the beginning, you don't have to accept who you are. You always want to try to evolve to be somebody better than what you used to be. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Indeed, you know, and there's this notion of fake it to make it, right? But don't be fake. That's not what that means.
That's right. Don't be fake.
That means that if you don't have something, work with what you have. You know what I mean? Make what you have polished. You know what I mean? So you can acquire more and do more. And people gravitate towards what they see. Like, perception is everything, you know. But to be fake is, to me, is to not honor what you're going to say. If you know, say you're going to do something, then do it. You know, and that reminds me like of a story with a guy that I grew up with. And, you know, he didn't have that support system at home, but he still did what he needed to do. And things he needed to do gave him peace of mind. So even though his home was kind of shaky in a sense, you know, his grandmother and his mother didn't take him and his father didn't take him to his job or whatever, he's been working since the age of 14. Like,
oh my,
you know,
wow.
So now he's like in his late 40s or whatever, and he still has the same tenacity, the same discipline. He didn't have his license, you know, to have a car. He didn't have a car. You know, I was 16 and I was driving around, and when I was somewhere, I saw him there. Like,
how'd you get here?
Yeah, how'd you get here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everywhere I went, I started to see him there. So I'm like, okay, in good faith, I'm like, I'm gonna take this guy home. We lived in the same neighborhood.
There you go.
And grew up together. So it's my childhood friend. But also, I would say he's my childhood, you know, success story, because the fact that, you know, he got a job at 14 and he got there every day with no excuses. It wasn't no cell phone. There wasn't no ghosting going on. There wasn't no emailing or whatever. If he said he was going to be there, he was there on time. He did what he was going to do, did what he was supposed to do, right? If he had to meet somebody there for a job interview, again, he didn't have a car to get there. He got there. So imagine that discipline from taking the bus, walking, talking the talk, and walking the walk. He literally physically did that.
He was doing
you know what I mean?
that.
So that wasn't just a metaphor, you know. He literally walked the walk and talked the talk because he had to walk or take the bus or metro to where he needed to be. And that's what we need to see these days from people.
That's right.
Is that, you know, if you're in the business of accomplishing something for someone, be the best at it, no matter how mundane it is, no matter what the simple task is or whatever. And also domestically, you know, have office hours. Oh my God, you just don't know how many people's like they're everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you have a significant other or a spouse or partner or whatever, you know, situation is that, you know, I remember coming home and, you know, I would be doing from a business deal, and that might have been 5 hours, right? And I had my first child. And then my wife was home with our first baby together, right? And then, you know, I would say hi at the door, you know, go check in on the baby and on them. And then I would go downstairs and start working again.
Oof. After you already knocked on the whole day.
Domestically, I wasn't there, but physically I was.
Yeah.
But supportive, like, and mentally and spiritually, I wasn't there. You know what I mean? So my wife was like, look, you got to cut it off. Even if you don't make money from, you know, from what you did at a certain time, cut it off. So that's where I said, oh, office hours, right? You know, so hopefully you don't have to go through that domestic situation, you know what I mean, to realize that you need office hours. But nonetheless, that at some point you got to cut it off. Even if you don't make any money, even if you didn't meet that task or meet that goal or that to-do list or whatever, at some point you got to cut it off and focus on your family. And you'll be a better person for doing so. And actually, you know, you'll have peace of mind to continue what you need to continue with, you know.
Yeah, that's right. And I want to talk about both items you were just covering right now, Rick. First is about your lifelong friend that you've known since he was 30, 40 years old. Fortunately, with his circumstances, he had to walk the walk, talk the talk at a very young age. And this is for anybody here at any age. Don't ever be ashamed if it's somebody younger than you who has that discipline that you would love to want. I've met people younger than myself that had the discipline at a younger age, and I'm still working on the discipline, that mindset to walk the walk, talk the talk. So don't be afraid. Sit down with them
for sure
and ask them, hey, what's your why? Right. You know, what's the positive reinforcement you do on a daily basis that wakes you up in the morning and you're locked in? You know, hey, today I can't slack off. You know, what Rick was saying, it's in this day and age, a lot of people can ghost. They want to cancel last minute. They want to text 30 minutes late into the function or the event and be like, hey, you actually, my dog died, or, you know, that's a bad example, but, or my car died, whatever it may be. But it's so easy to be flake and faking nowadays, where you need to be genuine, you need to have your word as bond. And I love that, Rick, where you brought it up. We got to bring that back. A lot of people want to stop saying their things or acting through it, and it just creates mistrust. You know, if Rick, I told you, like, hey, today I'm going to come out here, we're going to shoot our CEO Talks episode. Right. And can you imagine what you would think of me if you're waiting here 30 minutes, an hour, you're texting, you call me, I don't pick up, and then 2 hours later I call you, hey, my bad, Rick, you know, I forgot about it, you know, we'll schedule in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
The trust is gone, and it's so hard to rebuild his trust. It's just one of the hardest things to rebuild it, for sure.
One of the things that I think that will come across on this episode and hopefully future episodes is that people can get something from our experiences, right? Mm-hmm. And there's one more thing I remember, and that is, you know, one of my business partners, and I don't think she'll mind me telling this story or whatever, but we had a wedding. We had a brand, Weddings by Peace in Sydney. Still have a brand. And basically, we had a wedding that next day. It was also her client, and she was facilitating that client.
Okay.
And I struggled with talking about it because it was hard for me too, because I knew this individual, and I had great respect for this individual. She had only been married not even maybe 2 years. And we had a wedding the next day. And she was the lead on that wedding. Her husband passed away.
Oh, man.
And she had to call that client and let them know that the wedding was still going to go on. Like, so she wasn't just calling them to let them know that, hey, you know, I can't be there, my husband just died or whatever, right?
Yeah.
She took an affirmation of saying that, you know, we're going to be there.
Okay.
So I backed her up on that. So she called me and said, hey, you know, I don't need you just to videotape the wedding. I need you to take the management role on this or whatever, you know, and I'm going to call my cousin to do the photography and you'll do the videography, but I need you to check on him, you know, and I need you to facilitate the managerial role for this and take lead on that. I said, of course, I got you.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? She called me like the day her husband died.
Oh, man. Can't even imagine how.
Right? So, but then you have people who can't even do what they say, you know? So
yeah.
And some people, forgive me if I look at them funny or whatever for not honoring their word, you know, of saying, you know, well, because sometimes my cutback is that how come you didn't call? Right? Because, and I call it a cutback because it's like I got to cut it off. At some point,
Okay.
I got to cut it off and be like, you know, and sometimes literally I have to tell people, look, you know, you took food off my family's plate. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, well, you know, you took away from my family eating. It's like, well, it ain't that deep, bruh. It is that deep. I do this for a living.
That's right.
Right? This is how I feed my family, and I take this seriously. And my goal is to help you take your career seriously. And, you know, you didn't miss the appointment because you had a death in your family. Or you didn't miss the appointment because something very important came up. You missed the appointment because you didn't feel like it.
You didn't feel like it. You didn't honor your commitment.
You know,
that's what it is.
But even worse so, you find out after the fact, the person doesn't call you to tell you that they're not going to be able to make it. That is the worst.
Not even a
respectful, not even a text or
yeah.
email or anything. Like I found out a day later or 2 days later or whatever, and I'm meeting this person in Maryland.
Oh, man.
You know what I mean? And they don't show up. But if you have somebody who can call you, you know, and their husband passed away and say, hey, I need you to jump in on doing this job tomorrow, you know, that's a special type of person.
A very
Not everybody's
special
going to
type
be like
person.
that.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
not saying, you know, but I mean, you know, do what gives you peace of mind, but honoring your word should definitely give you that, you know. Just
Yeah.
And,
oh, 100%. And I want to go back to what you were mentioning about those office hours, respecting your partner, your domestic household. So it's not enough to be present. You need to really actually be there. Your body can't just be there and say, oh, hey, I worked 9 to 7, 9 to 6, whatever it was, and I showed up at the house for the next 2-3 hours. I was there on the couch. But you were there sitting on your phone, or if you were working, that's great. You know, you think you were still working, trying to get a goal, trying to get food on your family's table. But if you have your significant other, your wife, your spouse, your partner telling you, hey, Alicia, like, you know, we just had a brand new baby. I know you're working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, whatever it may be, but, you know, actually, I miss you. I need your assistance. Our baby, it's a newborn baby, so I need your help any way I can get it. Yeah, at the end of the day, food and the roof is very key, but if your partner's telling you that, you really got to reevaluate, think about what you want to do as a person. So we're talking about, you know, your word is bond, keep your commitment, stay on the positive reinforcement. But if you have your partner telling you you need to be there, not just physically like a body, but actually participate with your family, you got to reevaluate.
right.
Because,
and that's really the true meaning of ride or die.
amen.
Right. So when you see that, you know, that Martin Lawrence movie, you know, with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence or whatever, you know, that was a great movie for them to come back out, Bad Boys, and come back out without it again. You know, that was a great thing. And I mention my words because it, you know, this is kind of an emotional conversation. Like, you know, my wife had to, you know, she quit her job and sacrificed her job, right? And to raise our child. And, you know, I didn't jump in there and commit. Like, I just kept going. You know what I mean? And thinking about, you know, outside structures that's going to come in and take away, you know what I mean? So, because when there's no money, there's you and your wife going at it.
That's right.
You and your wife against the world. Mm-hmm. So she didn't care about the money, right? She's like, we have this life together and we got to move with or without those other entities, with or without those jobs. You know, because at the end of the day, you know, the client can flake on you or stop doing business with you. You know, if you have a job or career, they can fire you, whatever.
That's right.
Your wife is there.
Yeah, she's always going to be there.
You know, and she's got your back and you got your back. So it's really you and her building something and not just you making money. You know what I mean? So think about that with your career, right? You know, think about building, not just making money. Because if you're building something, then you're laying a foundation, right? So when we talk about legacy, right, that's kind of what it is.
That's right.
You know, and taking time out for yourself as well. So yeah, also I think for some people didn't survive COVID, right? They was away from their spouse or significant other so long that they realized, you know, what they had wasn't necessarily what they had.
Yeah.
But, you know, luckily, you know, I was blessed I didn't have that issue, whatever. It's like, you know, you see your people every day. You establish them every day when you come into the house, talk and speak. How was your day? And try to get full answers out that individual because you never know what somebody's going through, right? And sometimes having somebody else's peace of mind helps you be at peace of mind. Like I know that, you know, happy wife, happy life. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, and then goes away too, you know, happy spouse, whatever.
Stay in the house.
You know, happy spouse stays in the house.
There you go.
You know what I mean? You know, so, you know, yeah, man, I think that, you know, we can go on forever with this.
We can definitely go on forever, but I think, Rick, you were tying everything up nicely. It's positive reinforcement. You know, you want to be real with who you are, have a solid network, solid foundation, have your legacy, and be genuine. Honor your commitments, be genuine, and everything's going to fall into place. It's never going to be easy, but it's going to fall into place as long as you know who you are, you know why you're doing it, and you have the right people there to support you.
Right, indeed.
All right, Rick. So thank you for coming on to CEO Talks for one of our first episodes. I do appreciate your time. It was an honor.
It's a pleasure, my friend.
All right, yes, sir. Thank you.
Look forward to it.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to the more.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Peace.